So welcome. So I'm excited today to expand the workings that we've been doing, whether you've caught them or not, into including the horizontal line. So for those who've worked with me or who, I'll just repeat again. So I work a lot with the vertical line and the horizontal line. When I say the vertical line, I mean our own energetic system, our own blueprint, our soul contract, our what makes us, our I am presence, our soul, our bodies, emotions, mind, that individuality that's the drop of the ocean, as well as that I am presence that's beyond our form, beyond our current day incarnation, though it travels with us. So that's our vertical line. That's, what makes us unique, what makes us also one in that vertical axis of the energetic system. And then we have the horizontal plane. And the horizontal plane is how it's the relational plane, because it's how we interact with each other, is how we interact with the natural world, is how we also interact even with our thoughts. So once we step out of that vertical line, we're immediately in relationship. And being that this is a holographic universe and reality, as above, so below, so within, so without. And the importance of developing the relationships to the natural world, has been lost as a modern human. For the most part, of course, they're still intact. And those of us that have always felt drawn to nature, and then also different peoples that are still very much in contact with the old ways. But for the most part, in the Western modern world, we have lost that direct gnosis, that direct knowledge of how to invoke the language of nature, how to invoke the language of being in relationship with the elements. And when I speak of the elements, I mean earth, air, fire, water, and then spirit. I know, I think in the five element theory in Chinese medicine, it might have a different five element, but so we're coming from there. And one thing that, our original people, so it's all original people, and then getting curious, where are your original people from? Where has your ancestry, where did they walk softly with the earth? Where did they perhaps sing to the birds? Where was that landscape? What was, so you can get curious this week as, oh, where were my original people? We might know our ancestry, like, for example, my ancestry is Ireland, Scotland, Scandinavia, that whole region. So I know the broad sense, but it's fun to get curious and start digging deep if you don't already have access to that. Some people have access to from their ancestor line of where exactly their people are from. But all original people knew the importance, the interdependence of being in nature, not above nature, not above the elements, but they knew the importance of working with and being in deep relationship with the elements. For example, if your child had a fever, you would do ritual, you would do prayer, you do ceremony to the spirit of fire, or perhaps the spirit of water to help quell, to help lessen the heat within your child. And the relationship was so intertwined that it just was. And as we have moved further along and away from that remembering, we're disconnected not only from nature, but we're disconnected from the elements within ourselves. And so it is a both and. So this journey today in the inquiry really is about, you get to know yourself more. You get to know the fire within you, the water within you, the air within you, but then also take it a step further and remembering that language, remembering how to shape shift so that if the wind was coming and that there was, especially in the northern countries, in this one study I was doing, it was so fascinating. So in the northern winds come, And in a time you're not prepared for, if they come early, it can really mess things up in your crops. It can mess up the, especially being connected to the waterways. There's so many different ways. And so to be able to go to the spirit of the wind and ask, like, what's up? What's going on? I had one of my dear friends and also mentors was studying with the people, original people in South America. And this tribe had an agreement with the Jaguar people, the Jaguar tribe. And to have they would respect each other. And what they noticed was one of the Jaguars came in closer to the village. And this is just 10 years ago. This is not like 50, 100. This is not from a storybook. This is like legit, just happened 10 years ago. And it happened to be that my friend was there and studying with these people at this time. And he was really blessed. He's one of the few Americans that have ever even made contact with these people. And so he witnessed how this community, how these people related to the jaguar, related to the animal kingdom. And so the elders of the community went into trance, went into the shamanic journey and journeyed and talked to the head elder of the jaguar tribe. And they said, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot what its name was. So-and-so's name, I don't know why I'm thinking Harry, but Harry the jaguar has been injured. And so he hasn't been able to hunt and he's very hungry. And so that's why he was coming in closer to the village. And they're like, okay, well, that's not the agreement. So what we'll do is we will give him a piece of meat. We'll cut up whatever the piece of meat was. And for it to be above ground, he needs to come in the light of day, which jaguars do not come in the light of day. And so at noon, in the light of day, in the village to come get this meat. And then let's just really keep our agreements so no one gets injured further. And my dear friend was literally, he said it was like the most profound teachings of his life, which then I've just held to this story so preciously because it's so beyond what our modern world can really comprehend. So he was like, I shit you not, I'm sitting there on the deck with these people, and at noon, a huge black jaguar comes out of the jungle limping, grabs the meat. I get tears just thinking of like the depth of right relationship, and grabs the meat and then looks up the elder, nods, and goes out back into the jungle. It's profound to trust so deeply that your relationship with animals that can grab your child in a moment, but people that know the medicine, know that we're all interdependent, and to trust the visionary process, to trust the communication and the language and the relationship enough to have that agreement. And then my friend being able to witness it, he cries every time he tells this story. I cry every time, because to have trust, but not just trust, but to have a relationship that's intact at that level with the animal kingdom, we can't comprehend that. I live on land. I'm fortunate enough to live in the woods, and bears come in and out. And the way that the people who like to hunt them, like the tree, it's such a different consciousness, is such a different world. And so to be able to, we're not going to be doing that necessarily with animals, which you can, but to be able to reestablish the language, the communication, the heart song between you and the elements, you and nature as part of nature. It shifts your consciousness, it shifts your life, it also shifts your vitality. It shifts the fear factor. We've been taught by movies and this and that to, go in the woods and be afraid and yada, yada, yada. And all the ways that we are trained to feel that we're separate from. And so I was out there's caves near us, and I was out communing with the river here, or the stream on our land, and in the cave, and just the energy and the ask. Don't forget, please help the interdependence get more established. You know, how can we really, you know, as forerunners, as the women that are choosing to remember, whether you're in New York City, concrete jungle, I grew up in LA, you know, like wherever you are, you don't have to be in nature to really access this memory, this knowing, and also this relationship. So it's a little bit, I just went a little bit all over the place, but the importance of being in right relationship will also change the chemistry of your body. It'll change how your blood flows. It'll change, you know, your breath. It'll change the relationship to your physicality, to your bones, when you know, like truly know, you're just an expression of the earth. So we are going to do a couple things this morning. Is as above, so below, as within, so without. So what we're going to do is see which element within you, earth, air, water, fire, and spirit, is the strongest and what also needs tending, as well as merge with the element, and you'll know which one comes forth, which one is needed in your life, but also the one that might be, has already been beckoning you to be in deeper relationship. And even if you're a water person, you might be surprised and find that it's air that is asking for those prayers, that's asking for that memory to really amplify and take place. So we're going to do without and within. And one thing that I encourage you to do, I just want to speak about it first so we can float on off like we do in an altered state, is as you find the imbalance between the elements, listen to what the guidance is and how you can not just work it internally, and internally meaning the internal dialogue, the internal, your own wind, your own breath, but also what you can do externally. For example, water has been a big element for me, and to balance my fire, I actually have like 0 water in my astrological charts. I'm pretty much just the fire, 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 fire. My Mercury is in Scorpio, which isn't very watery, but other than that, and water has been such an important element in my external existence to help balance out that fire. You know, if there is an ocean, a lake, a pool, whatever water, it's like, you can't get me out of it. I love to swim and be immersed in it. And it's really that balance just for my own internal makeup. But anyways, so within that relationship to water, I have a deep commitment to not only offer prayers to water, offer prayers to the rivers, creeks, but also to research what are the waters in my area that need some help. So whether it's donating to, my family lives off of Charleston, South Carolina, and there's donating to the Dolphin Foundation down there. You know, what are the ways that I can help with the cleanup of rivers around my area? So, you know, whatever element shows up, also getting curious how you can take it a step further in I need right relationship and help. And you might hear do an offering for 21 days to, you know, if it's earth, to the rocks outside of your home. You might be like, hey, what can I do? What are the organizations that are really helping to plant trees right now? You know, whatever it is. But to take it a step further than just the internal alchemy in our relationship on the inside, we want to also have right relationship with the external as well. I have mostly water in my chart, in your chart. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if you do know, you know, what your elements are. that make up your blueprints, whether that's from the astrological lens, the Vedic lens, the I don't even know. There's so many lenses to look at, but so many different systems work with the elements. So it'd be curious to see, if you're all earth, perhaps some fire wants to come into your life. Perhaps the message is to tend to a fire for 7 days. Sit and listen. What does the fire spirit have to teach you? How does your own internal fire, how is your digestion? That's going to be a mirror of your relationship to fire. Do you have a damp digestion? Are you overheated? Sometimes it is working directly with that element, and then sometimes it's the balance of another element to bring in. So we are going to go deep into the realm of the elements. So as always, you're going to get comfy. Taking some moments to land in your space, to land in your body. How is your breath this morning? Relaxing the jaw, relaxing the shoulders, perhaps making a couple sounds on the exhale. Relaxing the back of the heart. Letting the breath get deeper into the belly. And relax. Feeling the earth underneath you. Feeling where your body makes contact, either the chair or the bed or the floor, making contact with Mother Earth. Having your crown, the top of your head, reaching towards the sky. Allowing the petals of the crown to unfurl, connecting in to the heavens, the celestial realms. And tuning into your heart. That center point between the earth and the heavens. Breathing into the front of the heart and the back of the heart. As you tune into your own sacred heart, becoming aware of others tuning into their sacred hearts. As we light up the grid across this great earth. As we all, with our intention to be in right relationship with the sacred elements, setting out a call to rebuild that connection, that relationship. To remember the language that connects us with the elements of life. Good. Allowing that connection to the earth be wide and capable from the base of the spine to the center of her body. Commanding your body and your being to release anything that is not yours, that is keeping you from deep listening, deep contact with the elements of nature. Activating the change, the healing, activating the memory, the medicine, the songs. Tuning into the element of earth in your body, the bones, the blood, the physicality of your being. with curiosity, just asking, how are you feeling, sensing? How are you in relationship to the earth within yourself, your physical body, your ability to stay in your body? Movement. You might feel at home with the earth element within yourself. Might be something that you're working towards or something that's foreign. So just asking what is needed to come into right relationship with the earth element within. And listen, receive. Thanking your body, your blood, your bones, this vessel that allows you to walk as a two-legged part of the ecosystem on planet Earth. Moving on to the air element within. How does the air element show up within? It's your breath. Some can link it to the mind. How do you tend to your breath? How do you tend to your mind? What is your relationship to the element of air within you? Is it something that just happens? Are you conscious of it? Is there a dialogue? Just get curious. It's the air that goes through our vocal cords that allows us to speak, to sing. Moves energy like the wind. What's the message? What's the medicine for you at this time from the element air within you? Also take note which element feels stronger the earth or the air element within you. Thinking the air element within. Saying hello, inviting the fire element within you. Our inner fire deep in our belly aids in digestion. Some cultures link it to the individual spirit within. Do you run hot? Are you always cold? Are you hot-blooded, so to speak, hot-tempered? Or could you use a little bit more inspiration, more fire, more oomph? Simply notice what you notice. What's the medicine? What's the guidance between you and your inner fire, the element of fire? What's the ask? How could you be more in right relationship that would lead to more vitality, more creativity? Just listen, receive. Thanking the element of fire within you. Move to the water element within. I'm getting curious how the water element shows up in your body, in your form, in your being. Especially since our physical body is, I think it's like 70% water or something like that. Also, our emotions, our tears, our ability to flow with what's happening around us and within us. Some link it with the blood. How does the element of water show up for you and your being within? What's the medicine of the water? Do you get overwhelmed with your emotions and feelings? And being curious between the earth, the air, the fire, and the water within, what element is the strongest and which is the weakest? Or do they all feel similar? I know. Thanking the element of water within you. And tuning into the element of spirit within. This is different than the soul. Just getting curious how that shows up. The element of spirit, ether. And how is the element and spirit in relationship to the rest of the four elements? Receiving the medicine, the ask, the language of the spirit within you. Breathing into your whole form. It's made up of the earth, the air, the fires, the waters, and spirit. We're going to take a moment and feel free to stay inward, but if you would like to come out just a little bit, still keeping a pulse of your awareness, a finger or an aspect of your awareness on the internal realm, and write down some insights before we go to the external. You can also just move your body, move your shoulders, and write down, if you feel called, what element would you want to work with within? If you had to pick one, if you picked one, what would be the effect on the others? For example, if my water is out of balance, when I work with the water element, it's also going to affect my fire, because if my fire isn't having to work so hard by being damp, I'm going to just naturally have a more healthy relationship to my inner fire, even if I don't work with it directly. Would singing, would working with the element of air and song help you stay more present with the earth, with your physical form? Stay in your body. So good. So after you wrote down what were the strongest elements within, you can also have a reference as we work with the elements without, and sometimes they match up with what's more available and what needs some tending, and sometimes it's a total surprise. So it's always insightful to notice the difference. And of course, this is an exercise or a exploration to revisit. So closing the eyes again, bringing the awareness back to the internal. Perhaps moving your booty a little bit, opening up the shoulders again, relaxing the jaw. Making a sigh on the exhale, just releasing, letting that experience go, getting them to present time, cleaning the palate, so to speak. Ah, Turning back into your heart and the center of your chest. With a grateful heart, we ask to meet the spirit, the earth element, as a consciousness, as a being. Inviting in the earth element outside yourself. How does she show up for you? Grandmother Earth. It's been holding us since before our time. We'll be here long after we're gone. Show us, teach us. We ask humbly to understand, to reestablish in good relationship, communication with you. Opening to receive medicine of the earth. Are you in right relationship with the earth element outside of yourself? Ha. What does she show you? What does she have to say? How can you be in right relationship even deeper with her? Practicing deep listening, we open to receive. Thanking the spirit of the earth element, the sacred being that she is. From the center of your heart, calling the guardian of the wind, the spirit of the air. Welcome the element of air, of wind, of song. Notice your body's response as the element of air shows up. Receive and listen. What is the language of the air, the language of the wind? How can you be in right relationship with the element of air? Thanking the element, the being, spirits of air and wind. Mm. Calling forth from your heart, asking the element of fire to come to our sacred circle. fire, the warmth. Mm. What is the old language that's in your bones? How to attend to the sacred fires? What does she have to teach you? How might you be in right relationship with fire? Thanking the spirit of fire, the sacred element. And from your heart, calling forth, asking for the spirit, the element of water to come forth. How can you merge with water? How might you tend to the element of water in the external realm? Just open and receive, remembering the language, the dialogue between you and this sacred element of water. Thanking from your heart, the element of water for showing up. And again, noticing which elements in the external world you felt the most connected to, which element needed the most tending. Welcoming in, inviting in spirit. The sacred element that moves through our dreams, our prayers, animates all life. How do you tend to the spirit? To the great mystery? The giver of life. Open and listen. Ha. Good. Thanking Spirit. And thanking all of the elements for showing up, for being willing to step into relationship to those who've forgotten, to continually be teachers with compassion for us two-leggeds that have forgotten the importance of interdependence and deep relations. Coming back to the heart, feeling your body on the earth, your crown reaching to the sky. Taking some moments before opening your eyes, acknowledging your body, the air within your body, the water, your fire. And then taking your time coming out and writing down any insights before it leaves the awareness. And staying in as long as you need. And if anyone wants to write in the chat if there was a difference between the internal and the external elements, or what you received as good medicine, guidance on how to be in right relationship. Spirit told you to rely more on the weaker elements within to develop them more. Beautiful. Taking your time. So yes, Kelly, so this is a great question. Spirit felt less embodied than the other elements. I struggled to bring it down into my body from a superimposed position just above and beyond. Is that normal? Absolutely. So spirit, right, is not made of the physical elements. And so it is going to feel more elusive, the animator of the form, but not in form. You got your vlog for today. I'll send you the link. Great. So I encourage you to keep working with the elements. And when you walk in nature, practice deep listening, perhaps leave your phone. And let's say you're working with air as an external element, sit and watch the wind. And even if you think there is no wind, most often when we're learning the language of the wind and how to read the wind. So in different shamanic traditions, we learn how to read. There's a ton of different levels of the wind, or different aspects of the wind. One is a fiery wind. One is a quickening wind. There's just so many. So you can start to learn and listen and watch and feel and develop your own language, your own relationship that is through the intuitive self, that is through the body, through the remembering, and through the knowing. So have fun with this. And I encourage too, if you got any guidance, to also make some aini to, whether it's organizations or offer prayers to a river, or, next time it's spring cleanup, to help with some earth projects, to follow through on those. Fire told me to be more physical activity, balance the air that manifests an overactive mental body. Yes, I feel ya. Beautiful. So thank you all, and I will see you next week. And I look forward to hearing how this goes for you and what unfolds from the deepening of this relationships. It really does change your internal reality and also your external reality. So it'll be fun to see what happens. All right. Y'all have a wonderful week.